Hey there, hi there, ho there. We are back for week 5, issue 5 of Comic Book 101. I, of course, am your wonderful, pretty full host, the Princess of Weird himself, Josh Johnson, and to my left,
Michael Stanley.
Cosplay in Tampa Bay's official photographer. Don't let him get you on the other side of things. He knows what he does.
I don't do anything.
You know, you do quite a bit. You help me host this show each and every week, and all of these wonderful people have us to thank them for coming into their homes each and every week, letting them know what's been going on in the comic shops this week.
We're coming in their homes?
Family show, dude.
No,
we are live.
When did we get in someone's home?
We've been in somebody's home for about 5 weeks now, just taking up space, digging around. They haven't
made us dinner, though.
Nobody ever makes us dinner. Come on now. I believe it was your night for dinner tonight anyway.
No, that's tomorrow night.
Oh, well, there we go. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we have had an amazing week thus far.
It's been a busy weekend.
It has definitely been a busy week so far. We have had the autograph signing with Jimmy Palmiotti, Amanda Connor, and Paul Mount over at Yancy Street Comics, which was amazing for the Birds of Prey issue #1 release. Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. That was an amazing signing. So many people showed up for that. We got interviews. We got a lot of stuff done. Footage.
Then this past Saturday, Sci-Fi Bartow.
Yes, my first Sci-Fi Bartow. I believe this was...
Yeah, mine too.
So it was a lot of excitement for this. I couldn't wait to see what was going on, all the different cosplays and stuff like that. Hands down, we will show it in the next coming weeks, ladies and gentlemen, because we've got a ton of footage from the past 2 events that, unfortunately, we weren't able to get all of it ready for this week's show, so we'll have some of it for you on next week's show and the week after. We've got a lot of footage, don't we?
Which, yeah, we do, and it's a surprise. We're streaming Facebook right now.
Yeah, and we wanted to thank all of you, our special Facebook watchers. Right now, you can watch in, tune in, all that fun jazz. And if you're watching the next day, Tuesday, when we go live, we'll be doing a live stream of this bad boy as well, myself and Michael. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and re-ask them then, because we are planning on answering some questions, talking some questions, talking some answers, all of that greatness.
Sharing the event right now, so give me a minute. There we go.
But it was a great time once again at Yancy Street Comics and Sci-Fi Bartow 2020. A lot of great things happened. A lot of great books, a lot of great interviews. We wound up not only meeting the people who were working on Birds of Prey, but we got an interview with Chuck Dixon himself, and we talked about Bane, and that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks here. Of course, I bought a new action figure, which we'll get in our figure of the week, but we got to get into our housekeeping for the week, tidy up some things that we had going on from the last week's show. So last week, you had mentioned, Michael, this is one of the rare times where something you says, because Michael's notes are usually the one heavily packed. Mine is just me going off the top of my head. But you had brought it up last week. I got heavily interested in this one. The Lil Sweets Funko Pop may still be available. They said it was until supplies lasted, or until March 31st. So if you wanted to get that Funko Pop right now, it cost you 3 20-ounce bottles of Dr. Pepper, and then you go ahead and you text Dr. Pepper to 21688, and you follow those instructions, and you will get your very own Lil Sweets Funko Pop.
I got 2 Dr. Peppers at home. I need to buy a 3rd one now.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing this. We've got till the 31st. I think what I may do is actually when we leave here, might go hunt down some Dr. Pepper or something, so we can get this Funko Pop is going for $65 to $100 on eBay, depending on where you're buying things. And that's absolutely insane for a Funko Pop that literally costs you like $3 for the soda. I know you've been following this one a little bit more. How much of these have you been seeing popping up online and stuff like that?
I've seen quite a few. I've been checking on eBay. I saw one again the other day, about $75 starting bid. I'm like, no, I'm not buying it. I'll get it for free.
Yeah.
Now, if they're sold out by now, that's going to be the only way.
Yeah, and hopefully we can all hope that Dr. Pepper would have to release some kind of statement to be like, hey, we don't have any more of the little sweets out there. Stop sending us your text messages. But
it's going to be interesting because you're going to get all the scalpers that are going to start buying them and getting them for free, and we'll start seeing popping up at conventions. Once you see them at conventions, the price will drop down.
Oh, yeah.
They won't be going for $100 then.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because while we were at Sci-Fi Bartow in one of the booths right next to us, I didn't think anybody was going to spend $75 on a Force Effects lightsaber in the middle of the street of Bartow, Florida.
It's a master replica saber. They normally brand new were between $120 to $200 depending what blade you got.
Oh yeah, but even then, like when we showed up to that con, it was literally in the middle of the street of Bartow, Florida, and I didn't expect as many people that were there, and I didn't expect as many people that were there to be spending as much money as they were spending. I've seen some people when they show up to cons, they ain't trying to spend those hundreds of dollars. They're trying to do things on the cheaper end like we usually try to do.
Oh wait, no. When I went to conventions, before I moved to Tampa, even when I first started living in Tampa, I would drop probably $1,500 to $2,000 on merchandise, buying stuff. There was one convention, can't remember, FXCon. I dropped probably about $7,000 on replicas.
Dang. See, if I wasn't the host of this show and a reputable person like I am now, I would pull a Gathering of the Juggalos trick that I learned years ago. So back in like 2006, I went to the Gathering of the Juggalos. I was a big ICP fan. You'll see some of the comic books usually strewn about the table on my side of things. But they had their Gathering of the Juggalo event, and I kept going around to all the Juggalos, the Juggalettes, going, hey man, can I get $1? And I walked out of there with hundreds of dollars and merchandise
for $1.
Just asking everybody for $1, and I got brand new merchandise, $100 jerseys, stuff like that. All for, can I get $1? Because people are showing up there with thousands of dollars, specifically the Gathering of the Juggalos, thousands of dollars. What is $1? In the legitimate scheme of things.
Can every one of my Facebook friends, 3,000 plus friends, whatever,
donate this man $1?
Send me $1. $1.05 to cover the tax.
See, this is how Patreons get started.
If this works.
This is how Patreons get started.
Every friend.
So not only can you go and get that Lil Sweets Funko Pop, I think that's a pretty decent deal. Yeah. We're going to have more on this in the next coming weeks, obviously, because we're both now in the hunt. We're both going to buy some Dr. Pepper and see if we can't do this. But you'd also get, if you bought the 12 packs, I believe it was, or the 24 packs, buy 3 of those, you get a Little Sweets t-shirt, which doesn't look too bad.
I don't like Dr. Pepper enough to buy 3 12 packs.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Dr. Fago, so it's not doing any services. But I do like the Little Sweets character. It reminds me a little bit of Prince. So how can you not like Prince? He is his royal badness. So
I'll take the pop just for the collector piece.
Yeah, it is a very unique collector piece. But moving on in our housekeeping, last week we had gotten to talk a little bit about Spider-Ham, as I myself am a big Spider-Ham fan. I read a couple of the books last week. I, in my excitement, started trying to talk about all the different characters that there were, and I accidentally made the mistake of saying that Dr. Octopus, Otto Octavius, was in fact a catfish in this continuity, but he isn't. Dotto Octavius is a cat. He's Dr. Octopussy, or Dr. Octopus, and then the black cat is the black catfish, and there you see him, Michael. There's Dr. Octopus.
What?
And the black catfish for your viewing pleasure. Yes, and a very angry cat with tentacles.
She looks more like, what's his name from Pirates of the Caribbean?
Jack Sparrow?
No, the villain.
Davy Jones?
Yes.
A little bit.
I'll give you Jones with
I'll
that.
give you a Davy Jones-like feel off of that one. Oh, yeah, but there you go. So that's a little bit of a correction from last week. Of course,
I don't want to see that again.
They got the Green Gobbler, the Hobgobbler, Black Bolt's a dog, Iron Man's a mouse, and looks almost exactly like Mickey. And the best part about this to me is they were drawing the Iron Mouse long before they were acquired by Disney. So it just seems like form-fitting.
Anybody has a tattoo of any of these, please submit them. I want to see
Yes, if you have any any Spider-Ham tattoos of him, his supporting characters, please hit us up on Instagram at ComicBook101TV, or you can see us on
a tattoo of that.
or you can see us on Facebook at ComicBook101TV. Please send us a message, whether on Instagram or Facebook, and we would love to see some of these tattoos that you may or may not have.
Or if you have any nerdy tattoos in general, comic book tattoos, send them in.
I rock my diamonds right on my arm. We can't really see. There we go. I got a Decepticon emblem on my chest. I need more tattoos.
I got my Spawn. I got my custom monkey Spawn, Stormtrooper helmet, Green Lantern, Stormtrooper.
I'm making me feel sad now. I want more tattoos. Let's continue on, I think we should, to our new comic books of the week.
So I failed. I'll be right
Oh,
out.
you
This
completely
weekend was
failed.
super busy, and the only new comic book I got was the Birds of Prey comic, but it's not with me this week.
Yes, but we do have the covers of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey #1 because we were both at that autograph signing. I picked up cover A.
I got
Michael picked up both A and B. And this is from the DC Comics Black Label version of comics, which is not a part of the main DC like it is, but it isn't part of the main DC continuity. The stories in these books are way more graphic and way more adult themed. They actually had a Batman comic recently, part of the DC Black Label, that showed a little extra
Skin?
yeah. The exact terminology I want to use, I cannot because we are a family-friendly show. But it was some extra skin hanging and dangling from certain parts of his body.
But actually, the new Harley Quinn cartoon is doing it too. I saw an episode today where Harley's sneaking into the Batcave, and she got caught on a rock, and Batman makes a joke, and her pants rip, and you just see her butt while she falls.
This is a little bit more than her butt, or his butt, in fact, that you would see in one of these other Black Label things. They had to, only 1,500 copies exist of that Batman, where you can see his...
Oh, I heard about that one, yes.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's part of the Black Label. Yes, it is where you can see his little Batman, if you will.
Not the bat nipples.
Definitely not the bat nipples. His archbishop in a turtleneck. Yeah. You can see it all in there, but with the Black Label, you do get that it is a more adult-oriented theme. They did change that Batman issue, though. But this Harley Quinn one, I loved it. I thought it was a great read. I wound up reading it last night. Did you get the chance to actually read it or not?
I need to go pick up another copy because since they're autographed, I don't want to touch them. I don't want to get my slimy hands on them. I need a pair of white gloves then because I want to keep them in pristine condition because I do like to keep my comics perfect and get them graded in the future and everything.
Well, while we were at this Harley Quinn signing for the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey #1, we ended up meeting one of our big-time fans, and I believe we got an interview. What?
Maybe.
Eddie?
Maybe.
The Eddie interview. Yeah. All right, well, our good producer, Rob, looks it up. Eddie, you have been watching for about 5 weeks now, repeating. Thank you for watching and tuning in each and every week. This interview was done this past Wednesday at the Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey #1.
Here we are, Yancy Street, and I'm walking around during interviews and everything. I run into Ed, and he's one of our loyal fans that have been watching us. How you doing tonight, Ed?
I'm doing great, doing great. Can't wait to see Jimmy and Amanda.
So, how long have you been collecting comics?
Probably about 45 years.
That's a long time. That's older than me. So, what are you excited about comics that are coming out right now?
Well, I'm more of a big DC guy, so Batman has been really good, especially lately. So today hopefully I'll be able to get my Pennyworth book, but
So, did you pick up the new Birds of Prey comic?
I did, yes.
Which cover did you get?
You will find out. The unveiling is there. Both.
That's a good way to do it. I always get both.
Take both. Okay, so.
Have you met Amanda and Jimmy before?
Yes, many times, yeah.
I figure that you're a big comic person. I know you work in a little shop in Old Smart Flea Market, and I always see you at conventions.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And we have the Princess of Weird joining us.
Yes, yes. So, Ed, you are a loyal viewer of our show. So I have to ask you, who is your favorite host on Comic Book 101, and why is it the princess?
Who's your favorite sexy host?
Obviously, the princess. Come on now, tiara and all. Nevertheless, thank you for being a supporter. I got to come and figure out.
I love you both, Joey. Okay.
All right, it's been great.
I can't fight you. I love you both.
All right, thank you, Ed.
So you never know what will happen at one of these autograph signings. Did not know Ed was going to be there. Loyal
Neither
viewer
did I.
of the show. It was great talking to you, Ed. Hopefully we see you at one of the next events we're at.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anybody to even know who we were there.
Yeah, like we ever expect anyone to. Well, I always expect everybody to know who I am. I'm a dang princess. You're behind the camera. That's a whole nother story, ladies and gentlemen. We wound up once again going to this autograph signing, not knowing what to expect. Had a huge blast of a time.
There's a lot of people there.
Way more than I was expecting to be there. They wound up going there, only supposed to be a 2-hour thing, and
They
it wound up
signed
going
till a little bit after 9.
Yeah, it was from 6 to 8, went to like 6 to 9, 9:30. And that was on Jimmy, Amanda, and Paul for actually staying that entire time. They stayed long enough so we could get our interviews that you will be seeing coming up in the next few weeks here on Comic
Then
Book
we saw them in the
101.
parking lot again because someone doesn't know how to keep the keys in my hand and locked them in a car.
Yeah, that was definitely
fun.
Yeah, sitting out there for like 3 hours on end. It was not that great of a time. But what was a great of a time was meeting all these great people, meeting our fans, and talking comic books with so many great people. And once again, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey issue #1 is available right now. You can go to your local comic book stop. Heck, if you have Yancy Street Comics, we seen them they got plenty of the autograph copies still available. There are both the covers you can pick up for Harley Quinn's and the Birds of Prey. And what makes this story so amazing, as you'll hear over the next few weeks of Jimmy, Amanda, and Paul talk about, this story centers around Harley Quinn. As she's living in Coney Island, her building gets blown up. She now has to trek all the way back to Gotham City so that she can make an amends with the guy who had her loan, so she's going to go do some horrible things to him. But the whole reason she left Gotham City was to get away from the Joker. And right in the panels, Joker finds out she's coming back to Gotham, and he can't wait. It's shaping up to be a great story.
I can't wait for it.
All right, what else happened to us while we were there?
So we had a little debate last week about getting your comics graded, toys graded, and everything. And it happened to be
Sports cards, whatever it may be.
Cards. This company was there. They do. They verify your autographs, and they also bring your comics straight to CGC, get them graded for you, sealed and everything, then drop them back off at the comic shop where you pick up. So we did a little interview with them.
And I believe they were known as the agents of SLABS.
Here we are at Yancy Street Comics in Newport Richie, and I'm with Brian. How you doing today?
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you.
So it's Agents of SLABS and Alpha Omega. So tell me a little about what y'all do here.
So Agents of SLABS is a CGC facilitator. We work for CGC Corporation, like your local State Farm agent. We can go to stores and signings and provide signature series on all comic books. We take them in, we take them down to CGC, they get them graded, and they authenticate the signature for all comic books.
Okay, so on Comic Book 101, last night we had a big debate on, is grading worth it? Does that improve the price of the comics? Because, for example, I bought a comic on eBay for $20. Deadpool was graded 9.9. And I know normally people pay $50, $75 at times for them. So is it really a good investment to do it for any comic?
I wouldn't say for any comic. Myself, I only do it for keys, signature series books, vintage, Silver Age, stuff that you want to protect and hold on to. I think it's in my opinion, it's a waste to do every single book unless it's sentimental to you. But definitely your major keys like Fantastic Four 1, X-Men, stuff like that. That would be the books you'd want to do. And then like with Amanda and Jimmy here, you know, if you want this book witnessed and graded, this would be the time to do it and get that book done. And that increases the value because it's 100% guaranteed that that signature is authentic. There's no question about it.
And earlier before the interview, we talked about toys and pops.
Yeah.
What do you think about grading for those as well?
Depends on the toy, vintage, Star Wars, stuff like that, absolutely. I have found that grading toys don't really seem to bring increase in value too much. A lot of people go to certificates of authenticity for signature series stuff on toys and pops in the market. That's what Alpha Omega does. It's really going to depend on the person and who they want with the toy. And again, you know, if you're taking Megatron to go get signed, yeah, maybe you want to get that graded, but there's really nobody authenticating signatures in the toy market.
What's the best one you've handled so far that you wish you could have owned?
As far as comic books, Fantastic Four/5, First Doctor Doom. That was a great book, came across. And then we've had some major books come across. The other one was Amazing Fantasy 15. We picked it up at a show in Indiana for a guy, and it came back like a 6.5. That's an expensive book. It was very nice.
So you say picked up, so how does the whole process work? So I know you can't just come here, get it sealed, and walk off the same day.
So what happens is you'll do a little paperwork with us. You're gonna leave the book with us. Once we take the book, it's immediately insured for whatever value you want to insure it for, and that's where your grading tiers come into play, depending on the insurance value of the book. Then what we do is we take it back to our location and we physically drop it off at CGC. They take it, they grade it. We pick it up from CGC and we bring it to our locals here in Orlando and Tampa. Now, when we do cons like in Indiana, stuff like that, you know, I'll be in Chicago in 2 weeks. Those customers, we bring them back, and I'll bring them back on a plane, and then bring them to CGC, and the CGC will mail them directly from them after they're done encapsulating the books.
Because I know, like MegaCon we go to every year in Orlando, CGC is always there doing the grading, so that's a good thing. No, you can go there, get it done, they'll mail it back to you.
Correct.
I want to say thank you for your time. It's been a great interview.
And that was Brian from the Agents of Slabs. You heard it from the horse's mouth. If you're doing comic books, if you're doing certain collectible cards, very much well worth your time and effort of going out and getting them graded. Action figures, once again, not really. He had mentioned about the Star Wars figures. Come on now, let's be real. How many times have you gone to cons? We were just at one. How many Star Wars figures did we see at the in the cheap bin? On card at that. You know, yeah, if you got some of those 1977.
The new ones, no, I wouldn't get them graded. Just the old stuff I would.
Even then, some of that old stuff, it's not even worth getting graded. Heck, your kid beat up the toy way back when, and now you're like the 5th recipient of this toy, and Darth Vader's telescopic lightsaber doesn't even have the telescope on it no more. So, like, that's where I'm big on, like, you don't really need to go get your toys graded and stuff like that. But great interview, though, Brian.
Just want to say hi to Scott Pero, you're watching, Nikki, Mark Muncie, you're watching right now. My good friend Jess is watching. Thank you for tuning in tonight.
Thank you all for tuning in each and every week here at Comic Book 101. Of course, you can follow us on Facebook at Comic Book 101 TV or on Instagram at Comic Book 101 TV. Either or works wonders. You can talk to me, you can talk to Michael on either of those streaming platforms, or you can check me out at Princess Weird 17 or Michael
Cosplay in Tampa Bay.
At Cosplay in Tampa Bay. Now, continuing on with our new comics of the week, one of the things that I happen to pick up, you know me, I have to read something at least for the little kids of the show that watch our show, so that they can know something that's out there, because they're not necessarily going to be able to read the DC Comics Black Label series of Harley Quinn or Batman or any other thing in the Black series. So I wound up going out and looking at the Uncle Scrooge number 54 that just came out this last Wednesday, and it was a very unique story, to say the least. It was 2 different tales in this book. Both of them were from Italy. They had never appeared in the United States before this issue.
So is the mafia involved in this?
The mafia has nothing to do with this. It was actually, one story was written in 2007, the other one was in 2018. Both of them were published in Italy. Thanks to the way Disney is and how large Disney is, a lot of the time, sometimes these stories will get created overseas or in other countries, stuff like that, and we don't get to ever see them. This was unique in a lot of these Uncle Scrooge comics that I've been putting together and understanding a little bit is they take some of these stories that you haven't seen from Italy or Japan or wherever it may be, translate it all into English, and collect it in this Uncle Scrooge volume. They're all the way up to number 54 now, and each week it's two new stories. Each issue is two new stories, and you don't need to read the previous issue to get the story of this issue.
One-shot little issues.
Yes, 1 to 2 story little shots that it ties into the whole world of DuckTales and Uncle Scrooge, but nothing so specific that it's going to bog down anything from the past.
So if you miss one, you're not going to be behind.
Exactly.
Any story.
So it is just one of those things. If you've got little kids, they're watching DuckTales right now. I love me some Uncle Scrooge. You can go get some Uncle Scrooge comics, and Donald Duck's in there. Huey, Dewey, and Louie's in there. One of the stories talked about how in issue number 54, where Scrooge McDuck recounts to Donald Duck how he made his $8th million. Yes, it sounds ridiculous.
$8 million.
Yes, his
dollar.
His $8th million. Like, he made $7 million, and then the process from 7 to 8 is kind of documented in this. And basically, he owned a bus company and decided that, well, because everybody's starting to get into cars were the way of the future. At the same time, rock and roll started being introduced. So a contest happens where if you design the best car, this motor vehicle company will take it and make it. Well, he hires an engineer. They get all the way to the finals. It looks like they're going to win, and the engineer forgot to put in the gas tank. So the thing just sits there, but Scrooge McDuck sees how much everybody loves rock and roll and installs a jukebox. For 10 cents, you can play your favorite song on a 2-day cross-country trip. Every time you want to hear your song, you go put it in the jukebox. That's how he made his $8th million.
Wow.
At the end of the comic, you find out that the car that he originally had designed has not gone anywhere and has acquired $8 million worth of parking tickets, and they just figured out it belongs to Scrooge McDuck. The other story in it is basically the giant beanstalk story, and they go up to the giant beanstalk. There's the giant. He's got the goose that lays the golden eggs. Scrooge is trying to tell Huey and Dewey Louie how he got the eggs and stuff like that, like all these gold eggs. And he's trying to make it seem like he made this this great deal with the giant, where the giant hadn't eaten in years. So he gets an ostrich egg and feeds the giant the ostrich egg. Is going to make like a barter for it for some of the golden eggs. As Huey and Dewey Louie is like, really, is that how it happened? Donald Duck walks in and is just like, no, that ain't how it happened. He bought him at an antique store. Quit lying.
Nice.
Really great comic book. Loved it. If you got little kids out there, highly recommend any of the Uncle Scrooge comics, all the way from 1 to 54, or any DuckTales comics. Heck, anything Disney is usually safe for your little ones. Which now brings us to our next big interview of the evening. We have to go and thank our good friend Steve, one of the Steves, because there's two of them that we found out. This is the interview with the Steve that we're more familiar with from Yancy Street Comics. He happened to be the one to send us the invite about all of the stuff happening over there. So let's check out that interview right now.
Here is Steve now, co-owner of Yancy Street Comics. Thank you for having us here. It's been one heck of a signing. How have you been taking all of this in?
It's good. I'm running on 2 hours sleep, but the adrenaline's good, and lots of people keep you going.
Now, what did it take to get Jimmy, Amanda, and everybody here today? I know it must have took a lot to do something like this.
They've done signings with us in the past, but it's been a while, so probably about 3 or 4 years since they've been here. So called them up, and the new book was coming out. The Birds of Prey movie just dropped this weekend, so it was perfect timing.
And a great timing, of course, with the changing of the name. We've been talking about it on our show, Comic Book 101. They just changed the whole title of the movie to fit this comic book that came out here today. So you got to be happy about that one.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's been exciting. We also had Chuck Dixon, who created Birds of Prey, here Saturday as well. So it's been like Birds of Prey week.
Oh, that is extremely awesome. And every time there's a new comic book movie coming out, Yancy Street is always the place to be. I've been coming here myself personally for years, ever since I moved to the state of Florida. What has always made you guys stand head and shoulders above some of the other people in other shops?
It's just a great shop. I mean, really, it's attention to the stuff we stock, and it's a very clean store. It's not your typical dirty, dingy comic shop. We have great signings. I mean, just in the past 6 months, we've had almost 6 signings in the past 6 months. So our free comic book shop, our free comic book shop day in May is free comic book day is probably one of the biggest around. We have the biggest artists. It's like a mini convention here.
That it is. I've been here multiple times for it. It's always the first Saturday in May. Free comic book day here at Yancy Street is going to be unlike anything else you've ever seen before. You're going to want to make sure you come down here for it. Any last bit of things you want to tell our wonderful audience out there?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. And if you haven't been to the store, please come down. We're open 10 to 9 every day except Sunday, 12 to 6.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And thank you once again to Yancy Street Comics for having us over there for such an amazing autograph session. I was excited.
It was a lot of fun.
And you know what? It was so much fun. I think we should go into our first interview from that segment, from that autograph session.
Who do we have?
I believe the first one we wound up getting to talk to was none other than one of the writers of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. You see the photos on Instagram and Facebook, but here's the official interview with Jimmy Palmiotti of Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey.
This is the Princess of Weird, Josh Johnson, with Jimmy Paul.
Yeah. There you go.
Not that very hard. Not as easy.
You need an Italian restaurant menu. It's down there. It's next to after Parmesan.
There we go. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. Not as easy as my name, Princess of Weird, Josh Johnson.
That's easy. Josh Johnson is like, that's nothing.
It's the whitest white bread name you've ever heard.
I like it. I like it.
I don't. It's horrible. That's why I go by Princess.
How many other Josh Johnsons do you know?
A bunch. A whole bunch. There was actually, I was watching a TV commercial, and the guy had named Josh Johnson.
Well, it is like a Johnson is a penis name, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, there we go. People do often call me a giant. Well, anyway,
Jim Johnson. Giant, if you were taller, you'd be Giant Johnson.
That I would be, but unfortunately, I'm short. But thank you for joining us here on Comic Book 101. We came here for this amazing autograph signing of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. What brought you all the way down here to Yancy Street today?
My car. My car got me here. It was like a couple hours driving. Yancy Street is we're like, this is our local store, even though it's not near where we live. It's like an hour and a half away, but we try to support the stores that support us, and Yancy Street's been great for us. So we, the day the book comes out, we're here, and then Saturday we have one in Emerald City. So we're trying to cover the locals, and since we're not doing it, we haven't been invited like to MegaCon or TampaCon or anything like that. So we're figuring let's hit the stores and make them a little money for a change.
Now, do you find it a lot easier to promote your books this way, or do you find it easier to promote them at cons and the others?
I think because I have a presence on Twitter, that's like the first place I promote, so I show art and stuff. And then we have a paperfilms.com, which is a website, which we send out a mail-in, so we promote that way. And then, of course, we depend on DC to promote the book as well. Having the movie out doesn't hurt the signing, and so it's a little bit of everything. The store does the signing. Hopefully they got new people coming in just to get our autographs, and then they kind of see the store and like it, and they keep coming back. And that's what we always try to do.
Now, I got to ask you, you guys have been working on Harley Quinn comics for quite some time, one of my personal favorite characters out there. What brought you to Harley Quinn, and what's some of your favorite things to work on during the Harley Quinn titles?
I co-wrote the Injustice game, and Harley was in that.
We actually just talked about the Injustice game as our character spotlight this week.
There you go. Well, Justin Gray and I worked on that game. Harley was in the game, so I got to write Harley in that. And I was at a convention. I was at a retailer show in Orlando with Dan Dio from DC Comics, and one of the retailers said, Marvel has Deadpool. You guys should do something with Harley Quinn. And Dan literally just turned to me and said, hey, you want to write Harley Quinn maybe with Amanda? And I said, yeah, let me check with her. And so we got the gig. They didn't expect it to do very well. They just thought maybe a couple issues come out, we get canceled eventually. But the good thing is Dan said, do whatever you want. So Amanda and I talked, and we said, Amanda's like, I want to change the way she looks. I want to put her in like a red and this roller derby type thing. I want to change her costume all the time. And her and Chad actually were changing her costume all the time. And my thing was, I don't want to write a book about a character in Gotham, because if Harley stays in Gotham, she's just, again, another character from another, she's the Joker's girlfriend or
another rogue or somebody from DC
who got their own book for a couple issues. So what we did right away, we had her break up with the Joker, page 1. She leaves and goes to Brooklyn and Coney Island, and she has her own supporting cast. So we figured we have to build up the character with her cast. And nobody expected it to sell that much, and all of a sudden, a year and a half in, and it's the #1 Halloween costume in the United States, and it's so on and so forth. It was crazy. But like anything, I think the power of it was that DC let us do what we wanted to do, and we were very passionate about what we do. We don't take on anything unless we're going to really go all the way. And I wish more companies would do this. But again, it wasn't editorially driven. It was creator driven, and it caught on. You know, sometimes you get lucky.
So for me, my first introduction to Harley Quinn was obviously with the Batman the Animated Series, but my wife, on the other hand, it was actually your run on Harley Quinn from the Rebirth through 52, Little Black Book, all those type of books you guys had put out and stuff like that, that really got her into the character and really got her like loving Harley Quinn more so than any other thing before that. Yeah. Have you found a lot of that with some of the newer readers, or?
Yeah, I mean, we have a large female readership, and I think a lot of it had to do with Harley stepping out and doing her own thing, telling the Joker to go to hell, and then I think having Amanda on the art, the thing we introduced was the idea that Harley can wear 15 different things in 5 issues. Like, she could keep changing a costume, because you can't do that with Batman, you can't do it with Superman, you can't do it with anybody else but Harley. And because of that, I think we caught the eye of the cosplaying group. So a lot of these things just, again,
right place, right time.
Right time. We had a lot of moms and daughters reading our book. And that just means future readers. And that means if mom is in it with the daughter, that's it. There's nothing better, because they're going to buy the comics. And again, that's how the movie kind of happened too, because all of a sudden the comics sold, and then they're like, well, maybe we can do a Suicide Squad movie and throw Harley in it. And then the latest one, Birds of Prey, is like, well, maybe a movie just with Harley and, the Birds of Prey, maybe that'll do well. But it all came on the fact that we hit on something with that character, and it happened.
And that was one of the things I had brought up on the Nerd Talk show, on our Comic Book 101 show on WeBeam TV, was the fact that you guys did that with Harley. You put her in all these different outfits, and then with the new Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey movie that is coming out, so many things from your books are literally was the inspiration for that, from her having the hyenas as a pet. They changed one of the names of them. That Wiener Dog,
that was Bruce Tim. Yeah, that was.
Well, I was going to get there. There was the beaver, the stuffed beaver that.
Bird.
And more importantly, there's that roller derby scene that is huge.
Food obsession, like a lot of stuff we had in our books. Her leaving a Joker was from our book. So, no, it's a great blend of everybody's Harley. It's not just ours. It's a great blend of everybody's Harley. And then Margot made it her own by putting different outfits on. The movie's great.
I think that's one of the things eternal of the character. It not only speaks to female audiences, not only speaks to mothers, daughters, but it speaks to the husbands, the sons, the fathers, all these other types of people that all can relate to this comic.
Yeah, she's not a hero, She's still a bad guy, but she has like a heart of gold. And somewhere in her head, she thinks she's doing right, but she still is a bad guy. A lot of the stuff she does is crazy. So it's a character that a lot of people can like for different reasons, and we don't always have that with a Superman or a Batman.
So I got to ask you, since you are a writer on Harley Quinn, what do you think of some of the other incarnations of Harley Quinn that weren't of your own, mainly like the White Knight version of Harley Quinn, or the fact that the Joker is now having a new girlfriend coming out in the issues sometime soon?
Yeah, I mean, they're always going to, someone's always going to try to do some new person with the Joker, right? So Harley's out of the picture, somebody will create a new character. Hopefully that sticks. Who knows? It can't be like Harley. We know that. It has to be something different. Otherwise, it's just going to go to oblivion. But yeah, it's all good. The White Knight stuff is great. Obviously, Sean Murphy is amazing. So I can't say enough good things about Sean. He's just great. But all those things, it's all flattering. Because, again, you have to have the solid character before you can build off it. And I think bad character.
And I think you guys definitely did a great job building off a character that got a little bit of recognition, but through you guys really skyrocketed and went to a whole new stratosphere of fandom.
I mean, the Dini and Bruce Timm's Harley we love that character, and that's why our character is pretty damn close to their character. Excuse me. A lot of Snickers bars. I blame Snickers. But that character, we were able to build off the amazing character they created. So again, somebody's going to build off what we do. We'll be long gone, and there'll be Harley comics still coming out, and that's cool. It's great. It's great to be part of it.
Well, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you to Yancy Street Comics and everyone over there, and especially thank you to Jimmy Palmiotti for allowing us for that interview. It was a long one, a lot longer than some of the other ones, but thank you to him for letting us do that interview. It was very informative. I learned some things. I don't know about you, but I definitely learned some things. You're like out of breath. Like you're stunned. Can't believe we got that interview a little bit.
That was a long interview.
Yes.
Considering we were like, oh, they only got like 5 minutes, and we expected 5 minutes total with all three, and him was almost 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of interviews.
Please be sure to stay tuned to Comic Book 101 TV in the next few weeks, as we will have more interviews coming. We have one with Amanda Connor from that, who also helped on Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey. She was the co-writer and animator on it. And, of course, we have Paul Mounts, who was the colorist of that particular book. We have Chuck Dixon coming up. We have some of the Ghostbusters, not those Ghostbusters. You know, the local cosplaying Ghostbusters group. We got one of them coming up on here sometime in the next few weeks. I personally am excited. I know Michael's excited. Hopefully you are all excited as well for some of these great interviews we have coming down the pipeline.
Next, cosplay of the week.
I do believe we got to go into this little thing before we go into the next bit, which is our new figures of the week. Because how can we talk about buying new comic books without talking about buying new action figures? And me, myself, I went to Sci-Fi Bartow. I walked around the entire con. The one toy I wanted, I could not buy because they told me they did not take credit cards. So I bought this one, which is DJ, Canto Bright version from the Star Wars Last Jedi movie. There we go. Let's see if I can't get it into camera all right. There we go.
Just throw the whole thing up there.
God, no. I love
Make sure you throw the paper that way and not this way.
Thank you for reminding me. See, somebody's learning. But yeah, I love DJ in Last Jedi. I thought he was one of the best characters in the whole...
As he drops it.
As I dropped the toy. Thought he was one of the best characters. His dialogue about there are no good guys, there are no bad guys, there are only people in Star Wars, to me defined everything about Star Wars in that one statement.
There are bad guys. The Rebel Alliance are bad.
I will give him that. The rebels are pretty bad.
They're the terrorists. They blew up a freaking Death Star full of innocent people that had families and construction workers.
Technically, there weren't construction workers on there. That long debate, and I will get into this right now, that long debate of independent contractors working on the Death Star, we've heard it years and years and years thanks to clerks and stuff. There wouldn't have been independent contractors. They would have all been military personnel. Think about how our military is. You need a guy to install a toilet for you, and you're in the military. You're not outsourcing. Why? You're hiring a guy who knows how to do it.
People that were building toilets on Death Star were killed.
But nevertheless, don't need to talk about independent contractors on the Death Star. What we need to talk about is this DJ Canto Bright, because I bought him at Sci-Fi Bartow 2020. He only cost me $5. I was super excited with this one.
It's cheaper than what I bought.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I got it from the same shop that Papa Tech wound up getting. He finally got a Mandalorian Mando Funko Pop. He was so happy. But it's that time. Ooh, I love that sound. Let's toss that all the way over there. That actually hit something.
Hit the camera in the light.
Yeah. Let's toss those, and there we go. There's DJ. We'll put him right here on our previews magazine.
If you can stand.
Yeah. Thank you, Benicio del Toro. You know, this is like the second Benicio del Toro figure I own. Guess what the first one would be?
I have no clue.
The Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge Collector fan because I love collecting. And what better way to collect than with the Collector, Benicio del Toro? There you see him. He is a Hasbro figure from 2017 Star Wars Force Link collection. This is the the tiny scale of action figures. I like the Black Series. I like some of the taller figures. But I love these classic style figures where they're the shorter ones to open collect. We've seen me open up Kylo Ren and Darth Vader on this show in the past. But today we open up DJ of Canto Bright. Now, I'm not the only one opening something today. Did you know I got you something?
You got me something.
I got you something. I know how you like to live fast, and I know how you like to live furious. So here we go for you. A Fast and the Furious Hyperfin action figure toy from McDonald's Happy Meals. Here you go. I give
this... Is this the same one I have in my car already?
I have no idea. I'm just leaving McDonald's toys in your car now.
Because he eats nothing but Happy Meals.
I do eat nothing but Happy Meals. They are tasty. Get a full meal. Because they do it fast and they do it furiously.
I broke it.
All right, let's put him in here next to DJ so we can get a nice shot.
He can ride him. He can ride it in the car.
He can ride dirty, like a
Apparently
millionaire.
there's instructions.
Yeah,
It does
there's some
something,
decals. You can put your decals
yeah.
on it later.
Roll flames.
Yep, there we go,
Like
ladies and
Clips.
gentlemen. There's DJ and Hyperfin from Fast and the Furious. If anybody ever wondered why you can't take us serious, I think this segment just
Yeah.
sealed our fate. But now it's time to move on. There we go. To our cosplayer of the week. Take it away, Michael Stanley of Cosplay in Tampa Bay.
So cosplay of the week, we normally just show some photos and I ask some questions and read it off to y'all. This time we actually did cosplay of the week at Sci-Fi Barto. I can't pronounce it today apparently. It's someone I've known for 15 plus years. She's in the Guinness Book of World Records. She owns the most Pikachus ever, totaling over 20,000, I think.
Yeah, we'll find out more in this interview. She goes into full detail.
But let's go with Pika Belle Chu right now.
Comic Book 101, here we are at Sci-Fi Barto. So normally we all know we do cosplay of the week, and normally we don't actually get to talk to the cosplayers. They always submit photos and everything, but we're going to do a live interview for Cosplayer of the Week. We are here with Pika Belle Chu. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. You?
I'm doing great. So we know you do a lot of cosplays. I've known you started off originally working for a certain mouse as Belle. Another mouse, not that mouse. But I've known you've done a lot of cosplays. Explain how you got into the whole cosplay.
Oh goodness, I've always been a cosplayer at heart. Like you said, I used to work at Disney back in the 90s, many moons ago it seems now. So I pretty much started my, cosplaying there, and I really didn't know about conventions until 2000 came and I had the car. And another convention found out I had the car somehow, and they invited me out to come out with it, and see other people in costumes. I'm like, yep, I'm hooked.
So I know you do, of course, a lot of Pikachu cosplays, Pikachu combinations. I know you also did a cosplay from a certain movie from way back when that starred one of my favorite actors, Keanu Reeves.
Yes,
and that movie is a new version's coming out. So I actually cosplayed as Neo, and that was interesting back then. That was my first time in cosplay.
Yes.
So how many cosplays do you actually have?
87 now.
Wow.
Yes.
Where do you keep all of those?
Actually, they're in my garage, which is air cooled, and they're all on garment racks. I have about 6 garment racks just lined with costumes.
That is a lot. And you hand make everything then, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And you have, say, probably a mascot outfit, a Pikachu.
Yes, I do. And Mimikyu as well.
Okay. So what's been your favorite cosplay you've done so far?
Detective Pikachu's been fun because the movie, of course, it's epic, and I was the hardest critic, and I loved it. And it's just been a lot of fun, especially with my new display with the car that's interactive that you guys can play. And it's just actually comfortable. A lot of people are like, we don't recognize you without the big ball gowns, but probably my favorite ball gown is my Mimikyu, which is the recent one that I did.
Okay. All right. What cosplays are you planning on for the future, if you can tell anybody or even hint at?
There's a few Pokemon that I want to do because, like you said, I'm always known for Pokemon, but I do other things too. My recent costume was Sam from Trick or Treat. You've seen it, right? Yeah. Basically, I created like he had a sister, and I named her Samantha, of course. And that was my newest costume, but I plan on doing more Pico next, which is one of the newest Pokemon from Sword and Shield.
And I saw you got a certain little Sam figurine in recently that your wonderful boyfriend picked up for you off eBay.
Yes, I started a Sam from Trick or Treat collection, so hopefully it doesn't become another Pikachu collection, because
That's what I was going to say. Is it going to be a Sam car one day?
how would you even do that? Like, I don't even know what car would be perfect for Sam. I don't-
It would be interesting. We could find a way, because look at all these other cars out here.
Sure, I could just have a wrap of like Sam on the hood or something. I don't know.
So what is your favorite thing about cosplaying?
Basically, escaping reality and becoming somebody that's not you, and just escaping reality, because life pretty much, is hard sometimes, and just to escape as somebody else is great.
That's a good reason. So where can everybody find you on social media and follow your wonderful cosplays, and where are you going to be at next?
Pretty much Pika Belle Chu is my main handle. I've had it for over 20 years now. And my next con is actually going to be in Tampa at the university over there, a game con. I'll be at that one.
So that's right up our block. We may have show up at that one.
Okay, yeah, it's USF. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Belle. I hope you have a great day here. And Comic Book 101, it's been a great day at Sci-Fi Bartow. We'll be back with more footage.
And there is our cosplayer of the week, Pika Belle Chu. An amazing, amazing person.
She's
to
the one
meet.
that got me to cosplay for the very first time. I did Neo, and she did I did Neo. She did Trinity, not Morpheus.
I think it would have been a little bit more interesting if she did Morpheus. I mean,
and the shirt. I got a lot of compliments that day with that shirt on. It's by a company called Pirate Duck. They do a lot of steampunk, comic book, everything with the Pirate Duck logo.
And we've seen you wear that shirt numerous times on this show. It's the Haunted Mansion Ghostbuster shirt. It's great.
I have probably about 8 different shirts from them. And for some reason, every time I'm going to grab a shirt, that one's on top and not the other ones.
I know how that can be. I have a few favorite T-shirts
I
myself.
do own more than 5 shirts that you see me wearing.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to now switch gears, move the tracks a little bit. That's a lot from Sci-Fi Bartow and the Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey autograph signing. We will have more of those coming in the next few weeks. I believe we have Chuck Dixon, we've already said, the Ghostbusters, Amanda Connor, Paul Mounts. We have Butch Patrick, who's Eddie Munster from the Munsters.
I know you were super happy for that one.
I got called Eddie Munster ever since I was a little kid because I look like them.
We got our good friend Mark Muncy.
We got Joel D. Wincoop, one of your personal favorites, King of the Bee horror movies.
So hopefully he's told me I'll get you in a movie sometime. And I told him, kill me. He's like, no, you're too nice to kill off. I'm like, kill me, please. Kill me.
But we have those all coming up next time around. We'll be sprinkling them through. Please keep on checking us out. But now it's time for our character spotlight of the week. And this week, our character spotlight is on these lovelies right here, the Injustice series. Not only are they these 3 video games that you can purchase right next to me from the PS3, the PS4, Xbox One, whatever your game console of preference is, the Injustice series is out there. And if you're wondering why Mortal Kombat versus DC has been added to this list, well, because everything that happens in Injustice and Injustice 2 is the same world in which Mortal Kombat and DC Universe fought. We know this because anytime you play the video games, if Raiden shows up or Sub-Zero and they're fighting Batman, let's say, they make references to the DC Universe Mortal Kombat video game here.
The one thing I was surprised that we both found out at the comic shop was, so Injustice, you have a ton of graphic novels. There's a He-Man versus Injustice.
Yes, there is.
I need to pick that one up because I'm a big He-Man fan.
Injustice versus the Masters of the Universe, the He-Man crossover story. The cover features Superman and the mighty He-Man himself engaged in battle. I think we have a copy of it in the back, if we can put it on the screen at some point. But yeah, it looks like
a video game of that.
That would definitely be interesting. It is just a straight image because we're on our character spotlight. There you see it, ladies and gentlemen. Injustice versus Masters of the Universe. I think this looks pretty cool. I'm not big on Superman or He-Man, but that issue, that cover just pops at you. Another great thing that we found out is I did a little bit more research into it. There is up to year 6 in the Injustice universe. So that means there are 6 graphic novels, at least, if not more, not including the one we just saw and a couple others, that tie in from Injustice 1 all the way to Injustice 2. And furthermore, because that He-Man Masters of the Universe, if you play Injustice 2 and you win the game with Superman, it has a different ending than if you win the game with Batman.
Yeah.
And that comic follows the Superman ending, which makes you have to wonder what might be in store for us in Injustice 3 if and when we do see it down the line. I very much see them doing it. I see them doing this pattern. Mortal Kombat DC. Mortal Kombat DC, meaning NetherRealm Studios. There you see a cover by Alex Ross, who made a Mortal Kombat versus DC cover. That is one of the versions I own at home. I have the collector's edition.
I like that one right there.
I love that version of it. There is the roster for the original game of DC versus Mortal Kombat. And once you take Mortal Kombat out, it is one of the best DC fighting games ever to exist. There is issue number 1 of Injustice Year 1, Gods Amongst Us. They go to year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6. 6 years of story, all encompassing of these 3 video games, essentially. And it all started with a game that most people hated.
Yeah, because, all right, the reason it's a good game, don't get me wrong.
It's a great game.
The part that I didn't like, which I understand why they couldn't do it, was the fatalities. When you played as DC, there were no fatalities. So that kind of made it, I wanted to see Sub-Zero freeze Superman and kill him like that.
As much as I wanted to see that, I understand
why they didn't do it.
Because you're dealing with characters who you also got to deal with a little bit of a teenage, like a preteen demographic and stuff like that. Because you know there are 5-year-olds who watch Batman and would love to have a Batman video game. So I'm all for that. I understand that. All cool with me.
When it comes to the Injustice games itself, the finishing moves that you had
were amazing.
Great.
And the basic premise of the story from Injustice 1 onward is that the Joker figured out a way to get Superman to lose his mind one bad day. He kills Lois Lane. He blows up Metropolis, thus making Superman lose his mind, become an evil tyrant dictator who then proceeds to have a new regime order overtaking the Earth. Batman starts up a resistance, has Harley Quinn on his side. Superman killed the Joker by this point. Yeah. And it gets into this big war between Batman's side and Superman's side. Batman the side of good, Superman the side of evil in the regime. And it goes all the way through, too, where Brainiac shows up. And you deal with all of that.
Brainiac fighting him was a pain in the butt.
But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our character spotlight. This is going to be the end of our Comic Book 101, issue number 5. Thank you for joining us here this week. I will be at IPW Hardcore Wrestling this Friday night, February 21st, at the Hardy County Fairgrounds for an absolutely free show. And then come in April, it's WrestleMania weekend, and I will be a part of Kaiju Big Battle. You're not going to want to miss either of these shows. I also have New Heights Wrestling coming up in March. I believe it's March 11th. I will have more on that next week. Tell them where they can find you, Michael.
Cosplaying Tampa Bay right now. I'm not doing anything. I'm relaxed until the next convention, which is MegaCon in April.
So if you want to book your photo shoots, hit him up at Cosplay at Tampa Bay. I'm Josh Johnson, the Princess of Weird. He's Michael Stanley of Cosplay in Tampa Bay. We'll see you next week.